Whether we like it or not, the scriptural model is that once we have accomplished our life mission, we pass it on to the next generation and let go. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, Day 1 of Vayelech, if I can say that. We are in Deuteronomy chapter 31. Let's begin with verse 1 that says, "And Moshe went and spoke these words to all Israel, and he said to them, I am 120 years old today. I am no longer able to go out and come in. And Yahweh has said to me, you do not pass over this Jordan." We're going to pause there. Moshe has come to the 120th year of his life. He has lived his life in 40-year segments. He has spent 40 years in Pharaoh's palace as a prince of Mitzrayim, or Egypt. He has spent 40 years as a shepherd in Yitro's tents, taking care of his father-in-law's sheep. And for the last 40 years, he has shepherded, if you will, the people of Israel through the wilderness to bring them now to the border of their promised inheritance, the land of milk and honey, the land of Israel. So, if we add obviously the first two segments, Moshe was 80 years old when he had this burning bush experience all the way back in Shemot, or Exodus chapter number 3. 80 years old. I remember an occasion, a prayer in my backyard when Yah, at the age of 40 for me, had called me to leave my denominational identity and trust him and follow him in the path that we're currently on. And I was praying along the lines of 40 years, Father, 40 years, 40 years. I have been in this now for 40 years. And, I was trying to wrestle with the difficulty of leaving what had been 40 years of my life. I heard the voice of Yah speak to me. How old was Moshe when I used him? He was 80. Do you want to wait until you're 80? No, Master, I'll go now. So we all have perhaps those moments of a line drawn in the sand, a point of demarcation where life has significantly changed for us. It could be any number of life events that would take place. That being understood, when it comes to the spiritual line in the sand, where was that moment at for you? Can you look back and say it was at this point of life? Maybe you have even a date in mind that you can say, on this date, things radically changed for me. We have to be willing, at whatever stage of life that we're in, when we hear his call, to say, I trust you, I will follow you, I will do what you ask, no matter the cost. And we can easily say those words, but engaging the reality of them and putting them into practice can be, and probably has been for many of you, a completely different matter. So we come down now to where Moshe says, I'm 120 years old today. And he says, I am no longer to go out and to come in. Now, you might read that and surmise that he has now some kind of physical inability to function, a lack of ability to move. But the man climbed a mountain on the day that he died, just before he died. So he didn't die of what we might think of being old or old age, and he didn't die of some physical weakness. Moshe died by command. The command of Yah was for him to die. That's a little unsettling when you think about it. But Yah had simply said, you do not pass over this Jordan. You cannot take the nation of Israel any further than they are right now. Moshe, your job is done. So Moshe, who has given to us the written Torah, It's not the one who leads us into the land, but rather it will be Yehoshua, who bears the name of the Messiah, the living Torah. He's the one that takes us over. What it says to us, obeying Torah commands will take you perhaps to the border, but it is Yeshua who will take you in. So it's not about rule keeping. It's not about observances, although those are vitally important, that we honor the commands and that we keep them. But command keeping alone is not enough. We must have Yeshua, our Messiah, to bring us across the border. Yah declared a physical life border for Moshe and said, this is as far as you can get. Now, the Stone Edition Chumash quotes from the Zohar, saying the most holy and righteous people are sensitive to spirituality and are able to tell when the soul begins to ebb away from the body. My dad demonstrated that a bit as we look back and we saw some things that we didn't understand. It seems to be the case. But let's also remember scripturally that Yaakov, he gathered his sons together and he gave them each their final blessing, their final prophetic word. He pulled his feet up in the bed, laid down and went to sleep and died. Rav Shaul said to Timothy, my fight's come to the end. I've finished the fight. I've kept the faith, finished my course. The time of departure for me is now at hand. He realized this is it. And it's not just because he knew that the axe was going to fall on his neck. It's like, I'm done. My role is finished. Yeshua, he set his face like flint and he faced Jerusalem, knowing that when he went into the city, that the ultimate outcome of that was that they were going to kill him. And yet he faced it, even though the flesh agonized, is there another way to do this in the garden? He did yield, not just finally, but he had already yielded, and he was willing to face death. Now, Yeshua's death is far more fruit-bearing and productive than anyone else's. But as each of these men died, they handed the baton off, if you will, to someone else. Yaakov to his sons, Rav Shaul to young Timothy, Yeshua to us. Yeshua has entrusted to us what it is that yet must be accomplished. And so it is now up to us to number our days, as the psalmist describes, and determine our life and our number of events that are left, our abilities that still we retain. What is it more, Master, that I may do for you? If you want to continue, prove yourself indispensable. But don't become so indispensable that no one else can do what it is that you do. It has been said with a great word of wisdom that everyone needs two significant people in their lives. You need a mentor. You need someone to shepherd you, guide you, someone to correct you, speak firmly into your life, speak inspirationally, help you to catch vision, help you to shape and mold your vision and get about it. But all of us also need a protege, someone that we ourselves are mentoring. So while someone else raises us up, helps us get established, and sets us in a good path, we need to be finding someone else that we can do that with as well. And it's not easily done, because when we look around, we see these young eyes and energetic hearts and idealistic tendencies of people, and we think, man, they're so raw. There's no way. But they're waiting for us to help them. We were just as idealistic and raw and shapeable as they when we got started, if we are honest. So look it out. Who's my mentor? Who's my protege? How much time do I have? And how much more can I get done? And I hope to see you again tomorrow. Till then, shalom.